Well, g'day guys, and welcome to our live performance. I tell you what, you got to love live media, don't you? Because we've already done 6 or 7 minutes of this, and it turns out, well, guess what? I didn't press the go live button. Thank God for Piper downstairs tuning in, going, it's not working. Good reason it's not working. I'm a goose. Anyway, we'll start from the beginning. Obviously, Alan and Binky didn't get the dress code invitation. That's fine. I'll let that slip this time, but next time you're on notice. Alan Crute, the doyen of rowing. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Guy. And I think I might look better in hyacinth blue than I do in black and white.
Well, I'm determining there's a bit of a theme going on, and Binky's standing that out. Binky Kfouri, the sophisticated, the stylish, the rowing tragic. Welcome, Binky. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Guy. You do look very dapper, and I'm feeling
got to do it occasionally. It doesn't happen too often. Hey, look, we're even getting some likes already. Jeepers, some people are a bit desperate to get on board, aren't they? Anyway, look, we've got a huge show, so we've really got to crack into it, especially considering I forgot to press that little button there, and we're a little bit behind the 8 ball. But we've got some great guests joining us. We've got a lot of content to cover. We're going to get through the juniors. We're going to get through the inters. We're going to go to the seniors. Alan is going to be put on the spot. I know Alan loves to give a box trifecta idea of who's going to win things, but I'm going to get a one boat from each division and each class, and we're going to test him out at the end and see how he goes on the statistics. He keeps talking this 80-90% business. I'll tell you what, if he's anywhere near even 50% when you're talking of events with 20-odd boats in it, well, I'll put him in legend status. Before we do all that, though, Binky, I want you to give us a bit of a rundown on Head of Schoolgirls, why it's different, and what that's all about.
Okay, well, Head of the Schoolgirls is, I think, the greatest regatta in Australia. It's enormous. There are over 2,000 athletes competing from 41 schools this year. To put that into perspective, there are more athletes in this regatta than are entered in nationals, which runs over a week. And the difference with Head of the Schoolgirls to most regattas is the repechage system that they use. So it is a very fair regatta, even if you have, say, the fastest 3 crews in a division racing together in the heat. The repechages and semi-finals allow the fastest crews to make their way through to the final. And the other wonderful thing is that every competitor gets a final. So, yes, it's a huge regatta. There's a huge amount of atmosphere, but it's also one that, as a participant, everyone gets a chance to really compete and do their best at whatever level.
So basically they get to race on every day of the regatta.
Yeah, and the other thing that I love about it is that, unlike most other school sporting events, all schoolgirls can enter this regatta. So not just those that are part of GSV or part of APS. This is a really inclusive event. So while you see the big schools dominate in the 8s, for example, there are some girls who will participate in this regatta as a team of 1. They may be the only rower from their school, but it's a really inclusive event. How they manage to do it is beyond me, because it must take an enormous amount of work by the organisers, but that's what makes it really so wonderful. The other wonderful thing for the spectators is every 3 minutes a race down the course. So, there's never a dull moment.
Not much downtime. Actually, on all of that, I think it's important that we discuss strategy, and I think it's really important that people understand you don't go out of the blocks too hard. You just take it easy, build up a bit of pace, and then you lengthen out through the middle. You can have a bit of a push if you like, and then go for broke at the end. And I think that's really important, because otherwise you can come unstuck. Is that a fair comment? I'm referring to the parents. I'm referring to the parents, not the kids.
Referring to the parents, yeah. Well,
as we know,
3 days for the parents who are there every day.
Exactly,
on
and
Sunday-
there's quite a few. There can be quite a few amateurs on the riverbank. There's a lot of seasoned professionals. Don't get me wrong, but there's a few newbies, and they can fall at the first hurdle. They go out of the blocks a bit too hard on day one, and whew, it's all downhill from there.
Sunday morning can be a right mess, but
Man.
it's a wonderful regatta for parents, and a lot of parents. I don't know if we have any new parents watching. New parents who come along. No matter what you say and prepare them for the fanfare and the extravaganza that it is, they say, "Oh my God, I did not realise the scale or the." So it's pretty wonderful.
Exactly right. I certainly know the first time I got involved some years ago, and everyone's talking about this head of the Schoolgirls, and I'm like, I was a rower. Come on, I know what it's all about. And then I get down and I go, "Oh my God, this is next level stuff." Yeah.
Now,
it's
the parents who have a girl rowing at head of the Schoolgirls, a boy rowing at the Junior State Championships, and a boy rowing at Nationals. I was chatting to one person in such a position last night, and they were not sure where to go. If you've got a few kids all over the place, it's a very busy week of rowing.
Yep, absolutely. Well, what do you reckon?
They spruced it up the last couple of years because they put in the Crusader white tents, which seems to have created more space. And of course, they've got more schools now on the southern bank.
Yep.
So there's no real crush on the northern bank anymore. So the schools put their tents behind those white tents. It looks a little bit like a mini Henley, Royal Henley, where you have those beautiful white tents.
It's a lot classier, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit classier, and I liked the walkway last year on the south bank where, they had like a viewing platform. I kind of like that too. So I think they've done a good job there. It is fun. I think the last 2 years have been, after a very rocky road there for a while, I think that the last 2 years have been exceptional.
Now,
really
just confirming, Alan, on all of that, rocky road, we are clear. All is good to row from tomorrow, re the algae.
That's fine. We saw the RV statement, and it's quite clear. If they had another reading now that wasn't so good, I wouldn't be telling anybody.
They'd let it slide, you reckon?
I'd let it slide.
Now we're already marching into time. So, Alan, into the juniors. What have you got for us? What are you?
Do you want me to explain what my symbols mean just quickly?
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
So, many years ago, I decided to simplify things for my rowing group. So, when I refer to J, it's juniors, I, it's inters, and if there's no designation, it's seniors. And then the rest is boat type. So, obviously, Q is quad, F is 4, E is 8, DS is double scull, SS is single scull, and the numbers at the end are just divisions. Yeah. And the kids get quite used to that. It's easy peasy.
It's a lot less complicated than the formal one sometimes. I know when you first for the new parents and they rock up to the first regatta and they look on the rowing manager and what is this FSC 9X plus 3 minus thing?
Yeah, I'm not. I think the Romans had their day and their numerals should have probably stayed with them. Anyway.
Once you get your head around it, I'm still trying to work on it. Anyway.
But this only those things that I use are only just for schoolgirls and things.
Yeah.
So it's more complex. So shall we start with some junior events?
Let's go. Absolutely.
Well, event number 7. So I preview down to Division 4.
Yep.
So and I don't think I'll explain it again, but just to tell people that sometimes, depending on the size of the division, there's 4 repecharges and sometimes 8. Binky's quite right. About a decade ago, the lady who was running the head of Schoolgirls committee then decided to make this a fair regatta because it was a 4-lane course. She succeeded. Her name was Josie Miller. And now we have a regatta where if you're the fastest boat, you should win. And if you're the second fastest boat, you won't run 5th at this regatta, you should run 2nd, and so on. Okay, let's just talk about Junior Div 4, where there's about 18 entries. Now, Guy, to appease you, Loretto Turak should win this.
All right, LP.
Okay, so they are 13 seconds faster than all the other boats in this division. So they're rowing at an average of 4:02. Now, I take the average.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm taking the average figure from the Morongo Junior States and the Furbank. And if it's a Ballarat crew, I don't include the times from the head of the lake because it's on a different service. I don't include pre-Christmas stuff because that form is old. Now, other boats which I included, so I give myself a number of selections depending on the size of the fleet, which you know. So the other boats that I put in contention were Loreto Ballarat, which is rowing at 4:16. Likewise, Furbank 4:16. MLC was at 4:25, but they did have one race, the Furbank Regatta, which I saw that event where they stopped and recorded a 5:42. So they're in there. Strathy's at 4:15. Genazzano's at 4:17. This is one of the few divisions where I left MGGS out, but you could have put them in an MGC. Now, so you would think that this is a cakewalk for a Loreto Toorak. 13 seconds in the 1,000-metre race is pretty significant. I would have thought. It is significant. In the draw, they've got an easy draw. Loreto Ballarat actually meet Furbank in the heat, so one of them will go to reps. And the other one is MLC. Oh, Genazzano was in there. Meet Genazzano. So four of my favoured 6 meet in 2 of the 8 heats. So that's going to be a bit of a battle there. You'll be pleased to know in some of the events, Loreto Toorak actually meet MGGS, which basically means one of them has got to win and one of them is going to lose. Okay. You'll see soon they're in everywhere. So that's sort of done that. All of these events have 8 heats, which gives you eight winners going into the quarterfinals. Okay. Junior Div 3. Now, this is a bloated one. There's 27 entries. So I picked
I'm being a bit harsh then, aren't I, Alan, asking you for one selection?
No, that's all right. Well, I'm giving my favoured boats, and I've written all this up anyway, as you know, so it's all there. In here, you go for Loreto Toorak. They're undefeated, actually, in the 5 regattas they contested. So that would have included the Lauriston Regatta and the Sacred Heart, or maybe the Melbourne Head, whatever. Strathy were good in a 4:11. MLC 4:08, Loreto Ballarat 4:08, and so on. I put Carey in there with MGC and MGGS, mainly because they did a very fast time in a final in their last regatta. Plus, I'm a bit soft on Carey at the moment. School on the move in juniors.
Which is great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I've got 8 selections there, and really, you could have had Wright and Furbank and a few others in there, but you've got to pick. You get 8 selections, so that's more than enough. In the heats, they're reasonably spread, except that MLC meet Loreto Ballarat in one of the heats. No, that's not right. I beg your pardon. I've just flipped over a page. Let me see here.
That's right. You're allowed to make the odd mistake.
That's okay. I flipped the page. Strathcona meet MGC in one heat, in heat number 5, and Carey meet Loreto Toorak. That'll be difficult for Carey. You wouldn't think they'd get over Loreto Toorak in that. Again,
we got Kylie in the green room. She's about to jump on soon. I know you can hear me there, Kylie, so sit tight. The green room, by the way, sits on the side here. We've put champagne and lobster down there, so tuck in, Kylie, and we'll see you in a moment. Good to see you there.
All right. Shall we get the other 2 big ones out of the way, and then I can deal? I think we're going all right. It's only 7:20. Okay. So Division 2's always a big one. There's 25 entries there. So who am I going to pick for your? I'll go Loreto Toorak again. This one's closer because their cousins at Loreto Ballarat are only 3 seconds behind on average. I've got Strathy in there. Carey. Remember, Carey won that race. We talked about that once before. Got Geelong College in there, MLC and MGC. They've also pushed up. Albert Park College has got a really ripper of a boat, which has been rowing in Division 3, but because it's so good, it's in Division 2, so you should be watching that one also. Now, quickly on the draw, is there anything interesting there? Carey again cop Loreto Toorak, which is tough for them, and MGC cop Geelong College, but reasonably spread. So we shouldn't have too many upsets there. And the big one, which is the cream of the crop, which is our Division 1. I'm going to make it 4 out of 4 with Loreto Toorak.
It's getting boring now, Alan, right?
Well, I'm sucking up the Binky big time. I've also got that arm wrestle, remember, with that the daughter of the president of the club. So that you were defeated in. Yes, and she's been training, so I'm in big trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, LT were 10 seconds faster than their nearest rival in this division, so they were doing a 3:46. That includes a very slow day at the Furbank. Then you've got MGGS 3:56, MLC 3:55, and so on. And then it starts to get a bit messy beyond that. On the draw, is there anything interesting there? LT have got a relatively easy draw. Loreto Ballarat face MLC in Heat 4. That'll be difficult for both of them. And in Heat 7, MGGS have Ballarat Grammar. Ballarat Grammar is quite handy these days. So that's that. Now, if we just do quickly single and some doubles.
Sure. I just want to comment there, Alan, that 3:46 these Year 9 kids are going. That's pretty impressive sort of speed, isn't it?
Particularly when you remember the Furbank Regatta had a headwind. And so all the times at Furbank, which is a third of the sample pool, were slow.
Yeah,
and
right.
Sometimes they don't take times, but they haven't been too bad this year. Now for a change of pace, in the single scull.
Sorry, Alan. They're going a lot quicker than us masters go.
Well,
they're kids. What's going on?
Their bodies haven't been wrecked by too much meat and alcohol and
coffee, Alan. We don't drink on this show. This is a kids-friendly program. We drink coffee.
Yeah, okay. All right. Now, in single sculls, this is a reasonably big event. There's 17. The winners of these events, Corowa's Violet Whitehouse, I'm assuming it's Whitehouse, it's spelled Whithouse, is undefeated, having won the Morongo and Junior States. And her teammate, Abigail Phillips, was winning bronze at these regattas. So they'd be your two favourites, with Sienna McFarlane, the younger sister of Anastasia, who's a well-known rower from Corowa up in New South Wales. You'll see some funny names because, as you know, at Head of Schoolgirls, the schools write under their school names, not their club names. So there's lots and lots of funny names which are actually Corowa, New South Wales. And in the previews I've done, I've put in the club names as well, so people can tell. Okay. So I think that's very open, that event, though. Violet was rowing a 4:23 at States, Abigail a 4:43, Sienna a 4:31. There's no one there that's close to them. Interestingly, Binky, Jessica Durand was in that race, younger sister thereof, but she scratched today, which is a real shame. So I don't know what's happened there. Anyway, and we might uncover the odd surprise packet in here. But considering there's 17 entries, those 3 or 4 look pretty well. And I haven't known. I'm going to go for Violet. I should have my cherry red on, my Corowa colours, but why not go for Violet? So
Violet is your
Whitehouse. Yeah, why not?
All right. Okay, I'm writing all these down, Alan. I'm going to be checking. over the weekend.
Well, if you can get those sunglasses off, you might be able to see.
They hide my wrinkles, Alan.
I was saying about a misspent youth, wasn't I? Yeah. Okay, double sculls. This isn't a big fleet, but this is a really nice race because you've got the lead Corowa double scull and the leading Toorak College double scull have both won 2 regattas each. So I can't remember when Toorak College last won a Head of Schoolgirls event, but it's been a while. I just can't remember them saluting. Corowa in these small boats has been doing particularly well. And this Corowa boat's got that lass in it who I mentioned the other day, who if she wins, breaks that Corowa record, etc., etc. This is evens really for me. Corowers rode a 4:30 at States. The Toorak girls rode a 4:36. So 6 seconds. The Barwon girls aren't out of it. They'll row as Cardinia in a 4:39. Great race. I'll have to be loyal to the old school and go for Corowa again. And that school's never won 2 gold medals at any head of Schoolgirls, so that might be another record perhaps.
Excellent.
And in terms of draws there, look, it doesn't really matter with the single scullers because it's pretty thin on the ground. And I noticed the Toorak College girls, the lead crew there is in a different heat to the Corowa girls, so that's good. Yeah, that's right. One's in heat 1, one's in heat 2. The winner of those heats go directly to the final, so that's different to all the other events that we've been talking about in juniors. And in single sculls, that's a quarterfinal repechage job because there's so many of them. But there'll only be 4 repechages there.
Can be a long way round for a few of them, though, can't it?
Yes. So have you made all those notes?
I've jotted that down. Don't worry.
Yeah, good. I can have a rest now.
Yep. You can have a rest because we're going to grab Kylie out of the green room. You can put down the champers now, Kylie, because you're coming in. Kylie, welcome to Kylie Tavasci. I did pronounce that correctly, didn't I, Kylie?
Pretty good guy.
Excellent. And I do apologise. I have misspelt this in other locations, and Alan pointed out to me this morning of my poor spelling. I did go to Scotch College, and I can assure you we're not renowned for our spelling skills at that place. But put that aside. It's great to have you on board. What I really wanted to bring you in for is a couple of things. One is you've been on here before. Well, not on the video live feed, but we've done a podcast together with you and Julie from Sale as newbies to rowing. And at that point, I wasn't really aware. I mean, obviously, during the conversation, it dawned on me that you guys were dragged in by your kids. And so that lured you into this amazing sport. And I wanted to get you on board because A, you're a parent, but B, you're now a rower, and I think that's fantastic. But let's go straight to the parent side of it. On the eve of Head of the Schoolgirls, and I know this is not your first rodeo, but are there nerves, or is this about time, or is this a bit of relaxation? We're at the end of it, or near the end of it, or what's your thoughts?
Oh, that's a hard one. I don't know about nerves because neither of them are with me. They headed off to Geelong at 1 o'clock today because, as you know, it's about a 4-hour, 5-hour trip from where we are out in Gippsland. Yep. For my younger one, she's a Year 9 quad sculler this year. It's her second Head of Schoolgirls. She's really excited / sad because it's the end of the season for her and she just adores rowing. And particularly with their school, how they get the gappies in just for a year from England. It's the last regatta where they get that particular coach with them. And there's a little bit of, definite sadness that they won't see, Helena anymore after this weekend. And, things will change. So for her, it's a little bit bittersweet. Super excited, but sad that the end of the season is quickly approaching for her.
I think sport in general is like that, though. It does have, and they say this thing about the. I'm not sure there is a term for it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And I know elite athletes, especially after the Olympic Games, where they've just had years of focus and drive and dedication for this one moment, and that one moment might be, if you're Usain Bolt, 9 seconds of your life, and then afterwards, what happens? And I think the school kids get it even harder because it's such a big part of, especially the youngsters, right? It's such a big part of what they've ever done.
I'll just jump in there. I said to you, Guy, I've made a couple of notes for this evening, which is not like me, but one of the things I thought, parents of the Year 12 rowers should prepare themselves for the high emotion of that era coming to an end, not just for the student but for the parents as well. The girls in Year 12 have put 4 years of school rowing in, and it's kind of the end of that phase of their rowing life, certainly, and a big part of their rowing identity and school identity, and also for the parents who have developed these friendships over years standing on the sides watching, I can say there will be lots of tears from parents and girls ahead of the Schoolgirls. Something you haven't experienced.
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah. It's so true. I'm so glad you said that. I remember when my daughter gave up rowing, and I understand why she did. And she's watching this; she's going to go crook at me. But I was devastated, because I just got so involved in it, and because the schoolgirls, and I've said this many times, they do it so much better than what the boys do, and so you get so much more engaged in it than with the schoolboy rowing. And when it ends, you're just like, oh my God. I'm really glad you brought that up, Binky, because that's absolutely spot on, especially those at year 12 and they've gone through the whole process.
Yeah. There was a lot of tears at nationals amongst our school parents last year, I must say, as Perth wrapped up, and they were the real end of the season. They're so enmeshed in the program and they're so invested in it. There was tears from mums, dads, the works. Yeah, not just the kids, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Kylie, have you got green on because of Gippsland? Is that's green, isn't it? Their colours?
Really
no, the answer is absolutely I have, because that's why Binky's got blue on.
Absolutely planned. Yeah, for sure, guy. Yeah, I'm that organised.
Kylie,
sorry, Alan.
I met some of those English coaches at a regatta earlier on. They were really good fun. So did they only come out for 1 year? Is that the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so as for, say, Scarlett, who's in year 11, she's been through 3. COVID was a bit of an off year, obviously, but yeah, they're very blessed to have amazing, gappies that come out for the season and then move on to whatever. Yeah, but they do go to other schools. So her coach last year, Casey, went on to then, I believe she's at Genazzano this year. So some stay in the country, but the majority go back to England to pursue careers, etc.
Yes, and is your oldest daughter getting a bit toey about the big race? She's in the Gippsland Grammar First quad, so I should say that. Yeah. So, she's really excited. Little injury at the moment. Okay. Don't reveal too much.
I don't want to give that away on here.
No. But no, she's on the mend and should be up and racing. Yeah, we'll just say we'll find her in a boat still this weekend.
Okay, well, I met her the other day. She's lovely. And just one final one from me. I see up at Nationals that you're supercharging that boat. You're giving Ruby a rest one for one event, and you're putting somebody in the bow who we all know.
We do, yeah. And the
you want to tell us about that?
Well, that was a bit of a surprise to us all, to be honest. We didn't get any forewarning from Nick that was happening, and we were just pleasantly surprised. The girls were to look at the schedule for Nationals and find the gorgeous Katie McNeil had jumped in the quad with them for one of the races. So they're so excited. They love Katie. They know really well. She's come up to our rowing camp one season with Gippsland Grammar. Her dad's hung around. He's always at our tent having a yak and a bit of a socialising. Same with her mum Freya. So we're good fans and big fans of the McNeils and super excited to see what the girls can do.
I think it's the under-19 quad. It's a Gippsland Grammar composite, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a composite. I think it was under-19, so I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, Kylie, a bit about you for a moment. I've had the luxury of steering a boat up at Rutherglen with yourself and Julie in it. How's the rowing going? Are you enjoying it?
We are, yeah, for sure.
Got to do something about that. If you're enjoying it, you're not working hard enough, Kylie. We can fix that up.
Yeah, obviously I'm not pulling my weight at all.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What's have you got any regattas on the horizon?
No, but did you you would have got the word that I had a little swim up at Nagambie as well a few weeks back. Yeah,
I didn't hear you had a swim. But that's all right.
I lovely swim out of my single scull. First ever single scull. I can make it about 90 metres to go. Apparently I can't make it.
Oh, hang on. You did. I did. I actually was watching. That's right. I did see that. Yes.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing better than a swim. And yeah,
That was
look,
a
I think
hot
it's
day.
one of the. No. Look, jokes aside, it is one of those things that is a given at some point in a single scull. It's like riding a bike. At some point, you're going to come off it. But look, there's never any negativity about it. Everyone has a bit of a smile, and they all give you a bit of a clap and well done. And right, you got that monkey off your back, and now you can go again.
I blame Julie. Julie put me in the race. I was so not ready to race a single scull, but it was good fun.
I'm assuming
You've got to start somewhere. Come on.
Is Julie got a fairly famous single sculling daughter?
Yeah, so Scarlett.
That's the Julie I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so Scarlett and April row together. And now the mothers row together.
Oh, that's lovely.
Their embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Julie, for sticking you in the single scull. And but hey, look, it's nothing better than that, though, is there? And all the guys that only stick themselves in eights and what have you, that's all good and well. But once you go out there on your own, it's a whole nother experience, and I reckon very rewarding.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun. Like, I would do it again for sure. I'm not sure what we're doing next as a crew or as a four, probably down at Albert Park in April. I can't make the one in between, but I know Julie's keen to pick up maybe at Masters and another regatta between now and then.
Yeah, I'll give you a heads up. If you're doing Albert Park in a single, there's a hell of a dog leg in that course there, so you just want to be across that one.
Maybe a double and
the bottom.
give my
Sorry,
single
Binky?
career a little pause for a while, perhaps.
You'll be right. Sorry, Binky, you said something?
But if you fall out, your feet touch the bottom.
Yo.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know if you'd want to, would you? You'd be sort of holding yourself up.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, look, it's been great having you on, Kylie. Much appreciated. If you want to stick around, by all means. I'm not going to hang up. You can hang up if you like, because you, by all means, say you can go back to the green room and get back into the lobster and the champagne if you like.
That's my lobster.
But we're gonna move on to Alan, who's going to start working through the inters and what we can expect to see on the inters.
All right. Well, anyway, Kylie,
Thanks so much, Guy. I'll head back to the green.
have a great tournament, and hopefully the girls do really well. I've got them in my top
luck
three.
to the girls.
So
yeah, well, hopefully they can pull out something special, both of them. Yeah.
yeah, I hope so too.
Thanks
All right.
so much.
I think they
Thanks.
Let's hope. See you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
All right.
All righty. Alan,
All right.
what have you got for me?
Okay. Well, these interfleets get smaller, which is easier. So if you go to IQ4 to Quad Div 4 first, there's 4 heats. First to semis. So no quarters here. Rest to the repechage. Now, this is going to be really difficult because, again, Loreto Turak is fastest from MLC and MGGS. I made a comment, the top 3 once more. The next crews are Loreto Ballarat and Ballarat Grammar. I picked those 2 Ballarat boats. Maybe I thought the thing was going to be moved to Ballarat.
Well, it was on the cards.
This, you sort of have to remember that MLC missed one of these regattas because they took their 4 quads, their inter-quads to Sydney. But that doesn't really matter because I'm averaging out things. I'd go for Loreto Turak again, but there's only 1 second on average time. So these things are much closer than some of the juniors.
Yeah, 1 second doesn't. There's nothing.
No,
in
it's
that.
not really.
No, not at inters.
And these are the big 3. When you get into battles between Loreto Turak, MLC, and MGGS, anything can happen. And the other schools that are gnawing away are sort of the Ballarat schools mainly. Sometimes Furbank, and that's sort of how it sits with most of these divisions. In the heats, MGGS and Loreto Turak actually meet. So that means one of them is going to have to go via the reps. Loreto Ballarat's got a clean heat, I think, as does MLC, as does Ballarat Grammar. But you've got the 2 Titans there in heat number 3. So that'll be one to keep an eye on.
Yep.
because you never know what happens in reps. I actually know how the rep system. I'm not going to bore everybody with that now, but you just never know in a rep. Sometimes you can meet somebody else in a rep who's quite good, and remember, in a rep, only one comes out. That's
correct. All. Yes.
Yeah.
And anything does, and it happens a lot where things go awry during a rep, and you go in with a negative mindset when you should be going in with a positive mindset and embracing another row.
Well, that's right. I mean, MLC last year in one of those divisions had a really good boat, finished about 13th because they just had one stuff up.
Yep.
And that was that.
Yep.
Halfway. In Div 3, these Div 3s are always the biggest because you get the smaller schools rowing Div 2 and Div 3. You know, that's what they do.
Yep.
So we're back up to 20. So
just on that, Alan, can we just clarify? Because there is, correct me if I'm wrong here, there's a smaller school rule or something, isn't there? If you've only got one boat in your thing, you can then row a Div 3. Is that right? If you've got two boats, you can row Div 2?
They don't always follow this, or somebody will pop up and say they have this year. But you're supposed to row Div 2 and Div 3 if you've got two four-seaters. Yep. But you see, I saw one school today, their boat was put down from Div 3 to Div 5 simply because the boat wasn't good enough for Div 3. That was a TC boat.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's a bit, what they're trying to do is make the competition fair, and sometimes that rule is ignored.
It sort of bites itself. It's not sort of fair by doing that, is it? But anyway, look,
Look, the major schools that get moved around are PLC and the other smaller schools where it doesn't really matter whether they're in Div 2, Div 3 or Div 4 because they're not going to influence the major finals. And really, no one's going to get too uptight as to where they are. That's kind of what happens.
Sure.
So in Div 3, we've got 8 heats. Is there a overlap anywhere? No. All the major players are in separate heats, so that should be fairly uneventful, I would have thought. In Div 2, that's another big one with 18 entries. Well, not that big, but big enough to have quarterfinals, of course. So here, did I pick one there for you in Div 3?
Div 3 you haven't yet, no?
No.
I'll take a guess, Loretto Turak.
I'm going to get Turak again. Only because I need some pistachio nuts from Binky.
Is there a bias going on here, Binky? Have you got into his ear earlier or something?
I haven't heard the other school I support very strongly mentioned. So,
they won a states medal the other day with a coach I know very well. And that's the first time they've won a states medal in a long time. That was in an 8. So that was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Okay, Div 2. I should declare. Well, this one again. LT is averaging a 347. MGGS is a 350. Look, I'm just going on the plain figures here because I've published them. But what you'll find is these other, the two big schools other than LT are going to win some of these events. LT will win a lot of them, but I'll give you the figures in this one just to show you. LT is a 347, MGGS is a 350, MLC is a 353, Ballarat Grammar is a 351, Furbank's a 353, and Wrighton's a 353. Okay, so I've selected 6 there, and there were 3 other schools only to break 4 minutes. Now, realistically, the reason I picked 6 is I'm saying any one of those 6 crews could make an A final. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And that's what I'm trying to do. With regards to heats, well, this one is a stinker, I'm afraid. Wrighton, Furbank, and Loretto Turak are all in Heat 3. So there's 3 of the 6 all face off in the one effort. So that's going to be particularly interesting. Okay, moving on. The first of the 8s. This is what I call the Dodgem car division.
Sorry, Alan. I've just. What was your Div 2 call?
I'll go Loretto again.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, you're forcing me to do this.
I know I am. No.
Because everybody can see which boat. I haven't. They're just about in every one. Now, there's no Loretto in this race. Yeah. This is I think a really great division. This is. into 8's Division 2.
Right.
And so what happens here is you get all these Geelong Grammar kids that have come back from Timbertop. They've got four 8s going. But they're not quite proficient at the craft just yet, which means sometimes the boats...
They've done a lot of ergos, though, haven't they? They've done a lot of ergos.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But this should be a ripper of an event. I mean, Wesley and GC, Geelong College, are so close. 350s at States for Wesley, 351 for Geelong College. Carey won the B final in 353. Haileybury were C final for memory, 358. MLC, which is one regatta, did it 359. So I've got any of those 5 could do something. Then you've got Geelong Grammar seconds, which haven't got the times yet, but you see those Geelong Grammar girls historically improve very quickly. Yeah, because they've just come out of that. They've had no rowing for a year, and then as you get closer to head of Schoolgirls, their trajectory goes right up. The heats here are fascinating though. In the first heat, you've got Geelong Grammar's 4ths, Geelong Grammar's 3rds, and Shelford. Now, how about that for a heat? And one of those crews is going to make a semi in a prize lane. 2 or 3. Yeah. How about that? That'd be the 3 least popular boats in that event in terms of picking winners and losers. Geelong Grammar should get through in their heat. There's 2 Carey boats here. The better Carey boats in heat 3 against Wesley. That should be a ripper of a heat with MLC. I mean, you've got 3 great boats there, and Geelong College and Haileybury together. So the lucky crews in heat 1 will be sleeping very well, I would have thought, with that draw.
Excellent. Hey, Alan, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put you on hold for a moment here and just hold that thought, because there's a few people in the green room, and if they stay there too long, they're going to consume all of our champagne and eat all of our lobster.
Right. Okay.
So we don't want that. That'll get expensive. One of these people is Rob Manning, who is currently driving the Wesley boats as we speak. You did mention Wesley, so I thought I'd bring that on. He looks like he might be chatting, so I'm going to bring him in. He's going to get caught out mid-conversation. Oh no, don't look at the phone. You're driving, Rob. I'm just to ring Rob in quickly, and then we've got Steph, who's about to come on very soon, live from the Sunshine Coast or News. I'm not sure, but they're in the green room eating those lobsters. So we better pull them out of there. We'll bring on Rob. Rob Manning, welcome aboard. How are you?
Good, thanks. Guy, yourself?
I am very well. I don't know if this is really smart of us to be doing this while you're driving a boat trailer and we have you live on our great live show, brought to you by, of course, RowMann Repairs. Hey, Rob, I just want to... Of course, Rob Manning is RowMann Repairs. He is the guy. That is why we have him on. I've got something I want to clarify, Rob. And this is an ongoing discussion down at our rowing club, and it's in relation to cleaning the boat after you come out of the water. Now, I know it's got nothing to do with head of Schoolgirls, but there's a school of thought that you use soap, and there's a school of thought that you don't use soap. And this is not an environmental thing. I'm assuming the soap that everyone uses is environmentally friendly. This is about protecting the boat. So can you please clarify, Rob, what is the best practice on cleaning your boat out of the water?
All right. Now, the first thing you have to remember, we see a lot of boats that are stained from the Yarra. Now, the Yarra and all waterways, the water has tannin from the leaves and the mud in the river. And if you're washing your boat, what you're doing is you're compromising the paint. Detergent, at the end of the day, is a solvent, and the solvent over time will compromise the paint, open the pores of the paint, soften the paint. And what tends to happen is the actual tannins from the river or the waterways will eat into the... and the only real way to get rid of them is to give them a good acid wash or a full cut and polish, or wet rub with wet and dry sandpaper, and then polish to seal them up. So the best way to do your boat is to rinse it with fresh water after you've rowed, wash it down with a microfiber cloth with fresh water, rinse it again, and then chamois it dry. Now, if your boat comes off the water and you've got muck on it and the river has oil or whatever, mud on the side of the boat, by all means wash it. But my recommendation is to prolong the whole life of any boat is to avoid using detergent every day. What it will do, it will muck up the hull of the boat. So.
And it's probably much more important for us masters who have boats that are somewhat not multiple decades old, but for these school kids, they don't care. Their boats get turned over every 2 years, don't they?
Yeah, but that's the thing, it's also these days you've got so many more kids rowing and boat sharing, and boats are used all the time. And I know that there's quite a few schools along Boathouse Drive that boats are being used morning and night and being washed, twice a day with detergent, up to 4 or 5 sessions a week. So it's just one of those things to, obviously it's an expensive space, viably affordable for the school. So trying to prolong your equipment is really important.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to do a podcast very soon, you and I, just discussing all of this sort of thing about boat maintenance and so forth, because whilst a lot of the rowers don't care, I think it is important that they appreciate looking after their equipment, because I don't think too many school kids are good looking after equipment, are they?
No, but I also think that comes back from from the junior programs, and I think one of the things that can be missed in that coaching development is actually equipment care. So we've hopefully I've been speaking to Adam Harrison from RowMann Victoria about trying to put an initiative together where we do a boat care and maintenance sessions for coaches before the season starts each year.
I've just seen a comment saying eyes in the boat. I think that's referring to you, Rob, that you're meant to be watching the road, not watching the screen. But
I haven't. I've glanced.
Are you looking? Once. I think you're under control. I think you're doing all right. But look, I'm gonna leave you because you've got more pressing things to worry about as a trailer of boats on the back as you're heading down that monotonous highway. Have a great weekend. No doubt you've got some busy times ahead because there'll be a few coxswains go awry over the next few days. It'll give you plenty of work to do.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Sorry, hang on. Binky wants to ask a question. I should have asked.
I want to know, Rob, is there a go faster wax like with skiing? You've got the banned fluoro wax.
Yeah.
What can we put on our boats that's super fast?
Well, one of the things, I might be a bit controversial here. Waxes and polishes are very similar in nature in terms of their makeup and their and what's in them. With polishes and those sorts of things, any sort of wax or polish you get at any of the auto outlets, marine polish isn't. It might be a bit of makeup. The best thing is to use just rubber auto polish on your boat. All polishes are hydrophobic, so the water will reduce water friction. I just think visually the boats run better off the finish when the blades are out of the water with a bit of wax on the boat. It's important to clean your boat first. I think it does help, and it also waxes do protect the paint and prolong the boat life. But a couple of years ago, there was a certain school who won Head of the River out of the blue, and I did spend some time cutting and polishing them, and they're waxing their boat before they went into the finals. So and they did win. So I like to think it does have a positive effect on
would they be Beachway by any chance, Rob, that particular school?
They may be Beachway, yes.
They may be Beachway, because it did come out of the blue, so you're to blame for that.
That narrows it down a bit, guy.
I think all of a sudden more psychosomatic, but
all of a sudden Rob's diary is absolutely chock.
I know, you just come and give our you might get a few calls over this weekend because Head of the River's only a week and a half away, and
I've been booked out for about 4 weeks now for cut polishes.
Well, just make sure you keep those Scotch boats nice and shiny, Rob. That's all we need to worry about, isn't it?
I think Mr. Woodruff is all over that.
I imagine he's very much all over that, and as obviously a very loyal and staunch ex-Scotch boy, it is getting a bit boring, I must say. I don't mind a little bit of challenge being put forward, because otherwise sport becomes a bit monotonous. But anyway, so whatever you can do to the other boats, why not?
Exactly. Terrific.
Anyway, look, I'm gonna leave you, Rob, because you can concentrate on driving, and we are really excited of who's coming up in a second, and we've got to get her out of the green room because she'll be into that champagne and lobster in no time. But I'll say goodbye to you, Rob, and have a great weekend, and we will be in touch very soon.
Great. Thanks, guys.
See you there, Rob.
See you, mate.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. So we're about to bring in Stephane Asher, the former Mayor of Geelong. This is really exciting, not because she's the Mayor of Geelong, well, former Mayor of Geelong. I mean, that's pretty cool, let's face it. I mean, we're all fairly elite in the whole spectrum of things, aren't we, our fine selves? But I think it's going to be great to get an opinion or a view from someone within the hierarchy of a city as to their view on Head of Schoolgirls and what it adds to the local community. So I'm going to bring in Steph and get her out of that green room. Hello, Steph. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Guy, for the invitation. It's really exciting.
Now, where are you? You're up north somewhere for the life-saving championships, is that right, or something?
That's right, actually at Broadbeach in the Gold Coast. And now that we've organised a very, very convenient accommodation right across the road from Kurrawa Beach, where it was intended to be held, it's been moved to North Kira. So we'll be driving backwards and forwards for the next 3 days, but the surf is too big.
What's the weather like up there, though? Is it nice?
It's pretty warm, showery, but apparently it's going to be a ripper of a day tomorrow, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good racing and big surf over the next 3 days. So,
fantastic. Now, Steph, let's jump straight into Head of Schoolgirls. Obviously, you're very aware of the event and have been across it for some years. What is, and I don't want to. This is not about being political or putting anyone on the spot in any shape, way, or form. So tell me to shut up if it's not appropriate. By all means, I'm used to being told to shut up. But what's the internal view within council of this event, generally speaking? Obviously, not everyone's always on the same page because you wouldn't be on council if you're always on the same page. But what's the general view? Do they like this event?
Oh, absolutely. It's unanimous. It's a passionate thing about Geelong, which pitches itself as a city of great events, and Schoolgirls is huge. And I think, fiercely protective too. I think there was a few ups and downs a few years ago and a bit of fear in the air, and everybody fought very, very hard to keep it because obviously it's not only a huge aesthetic attraction, the competition is amazing, the economic benefit and all the rest of it, but one of Geelong's strongest offers is its education sector. And so a lot of the schools are super involved, as you would well know. So I think it touches so many people. It's a great spectacle. Everybody loves it. So, fiercely protective is the word. I actually, contacted the current mayor because he's an ex-Geelong college boy and said, hey, give me the latest on what's the thinking in the rowing sector, because I know absolutely nothing about rowing. And he said, fiercely protective we are in Geelong. Very, very, very successful event.
Well, that's really good to hear, because I'm certainly very passionate, because back when I was rowing, the head of the river was at Geelong, and so it's got a very special place in my heart from that perspective. We do have a bit of a traitor in our midst, though. Alan was keen on getting it moved, weren't you, Alan? But not to throw you under the bus here in front of...
Guy, in my past, I was a member of a political party too, but don't hold that against me.
Why does that surprise me?
I've mellowed, you see.
An amazing show, and for the parents and the kids, everyone goes down there en masse for the 3 nights or 2 nights, depending on how long they're going down for. Puts on dinners. I used to book our school's function venue, the day after Head of the Schoolgirls. One year I'd rebook it for the next, and I'd be sending the message out to the parents, book your accommodation, get it all locked in now, and I think the local economy certainly value the event a great deal.
Steph, has the Geelong Council ever tried to quantify just what the benefit is of having the event there in terms of dollars? I mean,
look, I'm sure that question has been asked of the officers. Of course, as councillors, we don't have operational detail at our fingertips. That's not something we're councillors are allowed to do. But look, I'm sure they have quantified it. I don't know the figures off the top of my head, but they do tend to like justifying having every single event that comes up for opportunity. Nobody mentioned the Commonwealth Games, please.
Don't start me on that.
You obviously make enough money to when the rights to it come around. You obviously have the rights. You obviously pay for the rights. So you must be making 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, whatever it is. I mean,
it's whatever it is. And look, it's not just an economic benefit too. It's a social attraction. It's a tourism attraction. It's actually, really part of that whole Geelong play to be an amazing place to sort of live, work, visit, and enjoy. So we love it.
I think I can't remember whether it was Binky or Alan who you mentioned this the other day when we were talking about this sort of thing. That by having a massive event on like this, it doesn't actually interfere with the day-to-day of what's happening in Geelong. It's down on the river. You might drive across the bridge and go, God, there's people everywhere, but they're not actually they're not blocking off roads or in the city, or unless they're in the city spending money, which is great. It's not actually interfering with the day-to-day, except for the odd dog walker who may not like all the bikes riding down the thing, but it's got to be a positive as well, doesn't it?
Totally. That's a really good point, actually, Guy, because it is so accessible, because the river is just a short walk, despite the people who think that hill's too steep to walk and you have to get in your car. It is actually just a very short walk to the waterfront and all the event attractions and the restaurants and stuff in the main street, in the main city. But it actually doesn't get in the way. It doesn't shut it off like the triathlon does, and the Cadell Evans road race and Festival of Sales.
Don't you complain about triathlons, Steph. You've got a very successful triathlete son. So.
But, as councillors, people do tend to direct their complaints in that direction. So we do hear about road closures and things. But
I imagine you do.
The head of Schoolgirls doesn't seem to upset anybody except other venues who want to have it. So it's a great thing for Geelong.
I also think having it at the Barwon really helps to create the atmosphere that the Schoolgirls have. Just the way that you've got these lovely lawned banks, and you've got that section of riverbank right at the finish line up to the bridge. It just lends itself to bringing everyone together and creating that atmosphere that Head of the Schoolgirls is famous for. It's loud and it's exciting, and that's partially due to the layout of the venue.
Yeah, great point. I mean, rivers always, I shouldn't say that when there's lakes in contention too, but I think the fact that it is it positions so well, so close to the city, you've got lots of different vantage points, it's easy to get to, there's so many benefits to guests and spectators and participants as well, and all of that lends to the vibe. If people haven't had to have a hassle to get there, then I think people are in a positive frame of mind straight up, as long as they don't get a parking fine from the council, right?
Well, actually, I've never had that problem.
A few years ago, they opened up that additional car park on the other side of the river where most of the spectators are, and that was very well managed, particularly over the COVID year there. We had sort of shuttle buses taking people round and round, and it all worked very well, I felt. And so there's no excuse for getting a ticket. Just go and park in the big designated car park on the other side and walk across the bridge.
Yes, very good point. And look, shuttle buses are something that Geelong's always done fairly well, because there are areas just outside of the city that do have really good parking. We used to have the Eastern Gardens sort of shuttle bus running to the city. I don't even know that it's continued, but it's certainly something that people are really familiar with and happy to do. So, yeah, all easy, which is good. You want an event to be easy.
And of course, we do have little creatures just nearby. They have not paid for this little shout out, but I may have been.
The Barwon Hotel.
Yeah, there's plenty of options for refreshing oneself at the end of a day.
That's right.
I send one establishment the Regatta timetable each year. I'm not on a kickback, but they make sure they put on lunches for the patrons.
Oh, so they can come through. Yeah. Well, that's one of the beauties of these sort of events is you don't just go down like say footy, where they might go down and play footy at Geelong Grammar, for argument's sake, and turn around in the car and come straight home, you're down there for a day at minimum most times. In this instance, you're down there for 3 days. But look, it's fantastic, and it was very concerning looking at that blue-green algae situation and thinking, oh my God, imagine if they had to move it. But because to me, you can't beat it. And also, what I love about a river versus a lake is, as a coxswain, it's a lot more, and you've got a lot more to work with. It's a lot more fun racing on a river with the variables that come into it than stuck out in the middle of a lake.
Yeah, that's great. And that was really good news about the algae. I did read that in the Geelong Advertiser this morning, that all is clear. And we know that is the gospel of truth, the Geelong Advertiser. So if it's printed in there, there's no question.
Is
there sarcasm there, Steph?
You'll be welcome back in Ballarat soon, I imagine, after that comment.
What was that? Sorry, Alan?
You'll be welcome back in Ballarat after saying that.
I wasn't being negative of Ballarat. I love Ballarat. Don't get me wrong. That's not. I'm just saying I prefer a river course as a coxswain.
Right. No, I get that. That's right.
I love Ballarat. The long road to the start, the battle to get back. No. I do. I enjoy. Ballarat's a great city too. So we're not going to get racist. It's not even a word, right? Appropriate,
parochial.
Parochial, yes. Patriotic on a local level.
Parochial. I'm going to need to Google that. What on earth does that mean? But anyway, I'll leave the big words to you guys. You can cover that one off. I'll take it anyway. Either way, Steph, it's been great having you on board. Enjoy. So, how long are you up there for?
Sunday night is the finish of the competition. So back in Melbourne on Monday.
And you will have numerous parties of your family competing?
Only one at this one, actually, because we have Vic States next weekend and another one's competing at that one, and the other one is in Tasmania doing a triathlon. So everyone's everywhere.
Oh, God.
Rowing season at the moment. Everyone's everywhere.
Okay.
No, I'm not still on the council. I am no longer a councillor.
So. You can come up. There's plenty of councils to fix up here.
She's not that silly, Alan.
You get a gig anywhere.
6 years.
City of Yarra.
A lot smarter than that. Anyway, hey, look, Steph, it's been really great having you. Thank you very much for joining us. You've had some great insight. It's great to get some actual information from a non-rower about what it means to the local community up there, because I think that's also a massive factor in how long it does stay down there. And I certainly love it there, and many do. So thanks again for joining us, Steph. You can hang around if you like, if you want to listen to the rest of us carry on. Alan's got to get back to his intermediate coverage, and we've got to try and wind him up because we're going to be running out of time in no time. But thanks again, Steph. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Will do. My pleasure. Thank you, guys. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you. All right, Alan. What did we get up to? I got a bit lost.
We were doing that. We were doing that Dodgem car event. But did I give you a selection for that? Since
what I didn't have is just you're into quad Div 1. It was Loretto Toorak, wasn't it?
Oh no, that was Div 2. We haven't got to Div 1 yet. We're still in Div 2.
Well, you went to 8s. Where did you go?
No, because they do them in 8s Div 2, and then you go to quads Div 1. So we're still.
You're working through the event guide, so to speak.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So in the 8s Div 2, we'll just pick Wesley, but that's an incredibly that will be an event. I think I wrote this up, not to be missed. That's going to be great fun. That race.
Right.
That event. Sorry. Now
that's Wesley. Wesley, you have there.
Wesley will go there, and
that's assuming Rob Manning gets the trailer down there safe.
Well, I just was wondering whether the insurance premiums on those boats have just gone up.
Oh yeah, we better not dob him in, had we? We better keep that one quiet. Good point.
You press the record button this time?
Yeah. I think we've lost listeners. They're all off to see Super Cheap Auto to get the wax.
Oh.
Yeah, the wax. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll do an easy one. I'll do an easy one for you, Guy.
Yep. Okay.
IF1, which is that intermediate fours event that with the 4 Ballarat High crews. I think we'll go for
Ballarat High.
I think we'd probably pick the Inter first there. For the people that are going to watch that, Ballarat High 1 is the inter first, and Ballarat High 4 is the junior first, which I think is going to be the two boats to.
So in order of seniority, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
Now for the big one. Quad firsts.
Yep. Big one.
Yeah. I mean, this was really hard. I mean, sometimes when I do these previews, it takes me 20 minutes to pick the 6 boats. This took me 2 hours, and I think I had to go away and do something else for a while. This is really hard. So you've got MGGS and LT were the ones first selected. MGGS has been averaging 343, LT 344, and Furbank 345. You can't get much closer than that.
Right.
Both MGGS and LT sent their boats to Sydney, so they missed the Furbank Regatta. Right now I had a 350 and Loreto Ballarat a 348. So those were the 5 boats I selected. You probably, just because I've been consistent, I'm picking the fastest one just to appease your system there. I'll go MGGS there.
Yay, we got something different.
Well,
Binky, how's that? He's going crazy.
On the finals day, I think the whole crowd, if it's not MGGS, MLC, or Loreto, the whole crowd will go nuts because those 3 schools are going to be winning so much stuff that if it's not them, there'll be a roar. Into 8s, this is a great division too. This, when it started out, the quality of this division wasn't that high. It's still not, none of these schools will row baby 8s from these girls at nationals. Okay. They won't, but they're getting closer to be able to. The standard's much higher than what it was. And this is also a magnificent event. I mean, Geelong College, Wesley again, Caulfield Grammars put their a good crew in. Geelong Grammar and Lauriston, I mentioned. This was the division guy where Geelong Grammar hit Lauriston the other day. Remember I told you that?
Yep. We mentioned it, I think, last week. Yeah.
Yeah, Carey, a good 353. I mean, this is a great division. And in terms of the draw, well, there's only 2 heats here, first to final. I didn't mention the draw on the first quad. I'll go back to that in a second, just briefly. Wesley's by itself in the draw, and Geelong College is on the other side. But with first to final, that's a hell of an incentive to do well tomorrow. Straight into the final in the centre lanes. So you'd want to win your heat, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There's only 7 in that division.
Right.
So there's one heat of 4, one heat of 3. Just going back to the quad, because I didn't mention the draw there. Loreto Ballarat and Furbank are in one heat together. This is good. MGGS and Loreto Toorak are in another heat together.
Yeah, right.
So they can't both.
Some good heats.
So that makes it more interesting because one of them
one of them's going to have to go the long way.
Yeah, the long way around. The double skull
actually, just to jump in there, Binky, what's your thoughts on that? I'm all for the long way around. I don't, the old repechage way through. I'm all for that. It keeps you switched on. It keeps you focused.
Races.
Yeah.
Apart from the opens, they're 1,000 metres. One race a day is not a lot.
No,
in other regattas. So
it's more in Schoolgirls if you happen to cop. Say MGGS loses that and Furbank loses theirs, and they're only a second or so apart, and one of them's going to go out. That's the problem. And I think you're better to get through.
Generally, I think get through. I think there's a bit of mental stuff that goes on with the girls that it's all a great big disaster. But
exactly why I asked you, Binky. I knew you'd go down that road. That's exactly right. The mental thing is absolutely number one when it comes to that part.
It's another opportunity to race, and in some respects, it may be to your advantage.
Absolutely. And if you're going to be the winner, you've got to be able to beat everyone. You don't just sail through. You've got to be able to beat everyone at any time on any given day. That's what makes you the best.
Just on that 8s event, we'll go for Wesley again, just for fun.
Okay, 2 Wesleys in the 8s. Look at that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they won it last year.
Assuming Rob Manning gets them down there in one piece. Well, I suppose the good is if Rob does go a bit pear-shaped, at least he can fix them up before them.
They might be in a borrowed boat. In the double skull, I think the Sacred Heart girls will win here. You've got a Hearn in there, whose big sister was very good in double sculls a few years ago. The Genazzano crew is good too. So I think those girls, there's no great, I think those two boats are the best there. And I know that family, that Hearn family. Yeah. And I was very, Eliza was the big sister, and she was a favourite years ago. So I'm going to go for Sacred Heart there.
Yep.
A bit thin, that event. There's lots of newies in there. We might see a surprise, we might not. And of course, the next one we don't need to talk about much because it's intermediate year 10. And there's a certain lady called McNeil in there.
Yeah. So that's done.
Well, yeah, that's done.
Look, it's never done though, Alan.
Never say that. We don't want to jinx it for her.
Yeah.
Well,
never done.
She is. I mean, a lovely family, as said before. I remember up at the Gambie, she went past, and I said, "Oh, well done, Katie." And she said, "Thanks, Alan." And then I said, "What are you rowing ahead of Schoolgirls?" And she said, "I haven't decided yet." And then she said, "Can I be the first?" I said to her, "Can I be the first to know?" Anyway, I get this text at 10:30 one night, and it's her dad saying, "You're the first to know. She's entered intermediate single sculls ahead of Schoolgirls." So I thought that was a nice touch. Lovely. Yeah, she should win that. Interesting, she's in the same heat as the second favoured girl, Ariel van der Poel. There's 8 heats, and they're in the same one together, which is just crazy.
8 heats. So you really putting yourself out there.
Might know that her Katie's father was a very handy rower, and I believe still is rowing from time to time. But Andy has a long history of rowing.
There is a lot of that, isn't there, in this sport? There's just so much longevity through families that drag their kids into it, and and then they stay involved, and you get generations of it, which is sort of fantastic.
It's like the Tavascis in reverse.
Yeah, in reverse. That's right. Yeah, isn't that great though with Kylie, and Julie as well? They're both getting in the boat. There is on my podcast. There is. I'm pointing to a thing like as though there's a link up there. There's not a link up there, but there is a podcast with those two guys about their journey.
I should mention that eldest daughter Scarlett did win this event that we're just talking about. I mean, she did win intermediate single sculls last year at Schoolgirls. And Binky, you'll remember, she did very well at Nationals, didn't she? Did she win a B final in Schoolgirls or something like that? I think she entered as an inter in a senior event, and she did exceptionally well. And the reason they're not doing that this year is they're going all hell for leather to win that quad event.
It did remind me, Alan, I should just jump in here. Kylie sent a message saying that if you wanted to know why Ella's sister Jessica scratched, she's been moved in a junior crew, as a junior crew member is now unavailable.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh,
so she moved into a year 9 Div 3 boat.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
That clarifies all of that.
I was looking for. I've never seen Jessica row, so I was kind of looking forward to that. So I'll have to find out where she is. Do you want me to go into seniors, or do you want to have?
Let's get cracking to seniors. Okay. We're marching through the time.
All right. Okay. All right. Start with event 27, which is quad Division 4. You've got a Corridor boat here, which is actually their interfirsts who are rowing up, and they actually won at States. This boat wasn't Division 1 in inters; it was Division 2, and they won at States the other day at a 9:04 from MGC in a 9:09 and Strathie in a 9:10. This thing's wide open.
Just to clarify for everyone, that's over 2 kilometres. We've previously been talking over 1 kilometre.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
1,500 at Schoolgirls.
Yeah. In the split event at junior states, the Corridor crew won a bronze. So I think they ranked probably 6th or 7th in that fleet. And the director of rowing at Corridor has made a habit recently of taking their inters and rowing them as sort of Div 3s and 4s and what have you. It hasn't worked in terms of winning a gold medal yet, but that could be a gold medal, which if it... combined
why
with
do you think you'd drag them out of inters into a Div 4 seniors and make them row further? What, to turn them off the sports sooner? Or?
No, Corowa's retention rates between juniors and inters haven't been that flash. And so
if they're making them race 2K instead of 1K, they're probably sort of going, you know what?
There's a bit of a difference between finishing mid-fleet and actually winning a gold medal too. So I don't think those girls will be particularly upset at the moment.
Yeah,
the Victorian champion.
I hear what you're saying.
Also, longer distance might suit them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say, you know, I prefer 2K to 1K. 1K is just terrible.
Yeah. That's just what every director of rowing has their own little foibles, and that's just that lady.
Oh.
So I'm going to stick with the cherry reds there and go for Corowa. But MGC were coming home like a train at state championship. Another 50, 100 metres they probably would have got.
And that's where a longer race suits some crews.
Yeah, it's different, yeah.
In eights in Division 4, there were only 3 boats. And those girls who wear hyacinth blue should win this one quite easily. They've defeated MGGS at the Wendouree Ballarat Regatta Nagambie and States by 11, 20 and 11 seconds respectively. Okay. So I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on that one.
So, Alan, are you just showing off now this hyacinth blue thing? Is that, you know?
Oh, I've always called Loretto hyacinth blue. I actually had to remember how to spell hyacinth at one stage.
Oh, there you go. Is that correct? Is that correct, though, Binky? Is it hyacinth blue? Is that actually correct?
Yeah, that's the colour.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I'll stand correct.
Blue, I think it's a similar blue, isn't it? I don't know what they officially call it.
Oh. Anyway, so on to 4s now, Divi 4.
Yep.
You've got Clarendon, Furbank, Genazzano and Loretto Ballarat. Loretto Ballarat should probably beat Genazzano here. Genazzano are very good at these lower divisional 4-seaters. They've only got 2 8s this year, Genazzano, and only one of them as a 4 is going to go to nationals. So they're not that strong this year.
Yep.
That Furbank boat's a bit flaky. They were second at the Nagambie Regatta, but they didn't look all that good the other day at States. So we'll go with Loretto Ballarat there. There's obviously nothing with the draw with so few entries.
Yep.
Now, Divi 3. So we're ripping through these.
Yep, going well.
Okay, Divi 3. I think this is where Strathcona is going to win one.
Why am I cheering Strathcona? I don't know why I just cheered there. Maybe just haven't heard the name for a while.
It's good to hear different schools in the mix.
I know.
This is why you want to get into senior rowing, because more schools win in senior rowing in small boats than they do in those hundreds and hundreds of quads.
Yep.
Strathy should win this from Wrighton. The really interesting thing, and I didn't even pick this up on the day, Lowther Hall actually won the bronze at States. Oh. I didn't pick that up on the day. I must have been chatting because it was in Division 3 and I don't really tune in sometimes. And they beat Corowa at 9. So it was 9.06 to 9.12 there. Corowa gets stroke back. She was out last time. That's going to be a really good event, I'd say. What about... yes, Wrighton and Strathy are in the same heat. So only one of them will go straight to the final.
Yep.
So the other one's going to have to go through reps. Corowa and Lowther Hall are in the other one. So
hey, we're on Div 3 quads now, aren't we?
Yeah. So I'm going to go for Strathcona there, please.
Yep. Perfect.
Now, unlike Div 4 8s, Div 3 8s has been dominated by MGGS all season. They've won they totally control that division. The only event they didn't win was the Henley, where they didn't compete. Yep. So I think they're going to win this.
It's usually pretty hard to win if you don't compete, isn't it? I don't know. I found.
Yes, pretty cool. So the interesting one here, Guy and Pinky, is Furbank. That Furbank 8 has been competitive all season, and they won silver at States, and they've had a very good record all season. And Loretto have been up and down all over the place. So when you look at the draw there, you've got MLC in one heat. You've got Loretto Toorak versus Furbank. That's a very good heat there. And then you've got MGGS versus Geelong College. and then you've got an easier heap. So I think MGGS is going to win that. I've seen all of those races, and they've been superior in each one.
All right.
Just on Division 3, 4s, this Clarendon boat, who always has their coach mentioned by Richard, because the name's Claire Boatman, so they always mention Claire.
Of course.
She's a delightful coach, been around for a while. They have won all of their events this year, and they've only got about 7 or 8 seconds on Loretto Ballarat, but they should probably win that one. Again, there's no interest in the draw there. Now, in Q2, this is one of my favourite divisions.
Getting to the pointy end now, aren't we?
We are getting at the pointy end. This is where you are playing for sheep stations.
Yeah.
Where you are in all these events.
We are for everyone.
This is this fascinating mix between that really nice Haileybury boat that I like, NGC, who are fast, Strathy, who are also fast, Wrighton, who broke that oar or whatever it was the other day, and Corowa, who for some inexplicable reason just didn't fire the other day. They just went from 2nd to 8th from one regatta to another. So sentimentally, I've been pushing Haileybury up all year, so I'm going to go for Haileybury.
Yes, I'd be very disappointed if you didn't, because you have been spruiking them for a long time.
Well, they got beaten at States by Fairbanks Inters. Now, Fairbanks Inters are going to Nationals, and that's quite a good boat. And a good inter-first crew often beat Q2s, big 2 boats. So, but MGC are really good.
What sort of times? Oh, it's 2K is a bit different. We can't compare. No,
don't worry about the times too much.
Don't worry about the times, don't matter.
They're all close. Though Strathy did 8:30. Strathy's only 7 seconds behind. And of course, we don't know about Wrighton because they've been doing all these Sunday events. And I'm really looking forward to that as well. So Haileybury for me there. Div 2-8s has been a great division. They have a bit of fun here because it's not quite as much pressure on, unlike the first 8.
Yeah.
The last 2 years have been dominated by Geelong Grammar and Loretto last year, who I call the Division 1.5s because they were too good for Division 2.
But not good enough for And
they loved that.
Yeah. I
had great fun with that crew. They were a ball. Now this year it's been up and about a bit. So you've had let's see, Loretto Toorak were a 754 at States, MGGS were an 8, MLC were an 803, and St Catherine's, that's right, they almost pipped them with an 803 as well. That's right. So St Catherine's might break into that top 3.
Yep.
Now, obviously, it's interesting from the big 3 who wins out of those, but St Catherine's could easily break in. I can't see the next 3 boats are the APS Skills, Geelong Grammar College and Wesley, but that should really be one of the big 3 or St Cass, which is basically where we're at in rowing in this state at the moment with these big schools. Is there anything interesting in the draw? Oh, well, there is actually. Loretto Toorak and MGGS again in the same heat.
There we go.
That means one of them is going to have to go the long way around, as you've said.
Yep.
Okay, we're almost there. In 4s.
But as Binky and I agree, the long way round is a good thing.
I'm not sure I agree with that. Anyway, we can talk about that off there.
I think in Head of the Schoolgirls, it's not like they're having to row 6 races or something.
Yeah.
And they're short.
Keep them on their toes. Keep their mind occupied.
I get superstitious of it. It's like lane 1 at Head of Schoolgirls.
Well, Alan, you've just hit the nail on the head, exactly as Binky said. It's a mental thing, and you've just... it's like the whole, I get superstitious.
Binky, it's like when I watch Kate McNeil, I think she looks faster when she's wearing Merck's colours versus when she's in Haileybury colours. I think it's the white. I'm very superstitious. You watch those Barwon girls do better in Cardinia colours.
Yeah.
That's how superstitious I am sometimes. Yeah. Okay, F2 quickly.
Hang on. Who do we have for Div 2 on 8s?
Loretto.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Look, here I've got Loretto Ballarat. Oh, this is dreadfully close. That's right. Loretto Ballarat won States by 2 seconds over Ballarat Clarendon. And they also beat them, for memory, at the Head of the Lake, but it was only a slightly bigger margin. So we'll go for Loreto Ballarat. Obviously, nothing to do with the draw there. Now now we're in Division 1.
So just before you go on to Div 1, Alan, can I just say there's been a very, very noticeable absentee. Well, there's sort of two. One much more noticeable. I have not even heard you say the word MLC.
Oh,
through the whole of tonight. What is going on?
Oh no, they're in 75% of those groups. I think you call them the box trifecta.
The box trifectas, yeah, but
they're in there.
Surely, of the magnitude of rowing at that school, there should be, out of how many? I don't know how many events we've just mentioned, but out of all of that, there should be at least one that you're saying the word MLC prominently.
Well, I have said a couple of times, a lot of these ones where I've gone for LT, I've got MLC so close. I mean, MLC is going to win some of those events. If you wanted to pick schools that I haven't mentioned much, the big schools that perhaps in juniors and inters aren't that strong this year, St Catherine's.
You've mentioned them once a moment ago, and that was about it. Yeah,
Genazzano.
Yeah,
Genazzano. There's some big schools. I mean, Geelong Grammar I haven't mentioned that much. Mind you, they've got a whole year that's not there, but I mean, the big three have dominated more this year than in past years, in my view. And really, it's, as I said at the start of this presentation, I mean, those Ballarat schools are really the schools that are causing trouble for the big three more than the other girls' schools. It's kind of interesting. Okay, Divi 1.
Yep.
Okay, on the single sculls.
The main event.
The main event.
This is the main event.
Okay. All right, so you have to get used to the fact that some of these girls...
That sounds so dismissive, Alan.
Well, let me tell you,
Binky knows I like
the Open Single Sculls Trophy has more names of Olympians or people who have, at the very least, represented this country than any trophy.
I imagine it
would. I looked at just the photos from last year. Zara's holding that trophy going, Rosie Popper, Rhea Thompson, Katrina Bateman, and Sky Frobel, all there. And then, apart from the fact that 3 out of those 4 were coached by one David Orchard as well. So he's had a very, very successful singles thing. But of all the girls that you see rowing 5 years after head of the Schoolgirls, you go through that list of all the single scullers.
Yeah.
The vast majority of them are still there, and they're there at the highest possible level, even in recent years. If I may name drop a certain Zara Kfouri and Meg Cartwright, who won 2 years ago, have both gone on to make the state team. Not in singles, but in eights.
Yeah. So, there's probably 2 things going on there. Firstly, the skill of rowing a single, that's a given. But if you're out there rowing a single, you're seriously committed to your sport. You are so in the zone of what you're out to achieve. That's my view. What you're out to achieve, it makes you a very, very focused athlete.
Yeah. I joke when I say it's the main event because they've probably got the least number of parents and supporters out there cheering them on, but they're incredible girls, this field.
Agree with all of that.
One of the competitors in this single scull event's just joined my rowing group. That's nice, isn't it? I better say something really good about it.
Well, I've got my pick for this.
All right. Well, do you want to have a go?
No.
All right. I'll go first, and then you can tear me apart. So there's now 22 entrants. There's been some scratchings. One was a double entry. And one girl won't want to see me there because every time I look at your Rosie Beadle, your Oliver's daughter, she has a swim. That's happened on 2 occasions now. So she won't want me watching that event. Alice Joyce will be favourite here. I've always liked Adelaide Robb as a lightweight, and if she wasn't going away next year and wasn't in that that town that's on the border, she'd be in the Victorian lightweight crew. I mean, she ranks about 3rd in that race. It states, didn't she, after Antonia and Antoinetta, and Maggie. I think she was third or fourth. So she's right in this race. So's Clodagh. And then you got Lily Rose and Beatrix.
Then my three are Alice, Joyce, Clodagh, and Lily Rose.
Yeah.
Alice missed out on her rightful place in the final. Last year she had a very strong season, but had a swim in the semi, which was it a semi or the rep? But it was unfortunate because I think she would have been silver or bronze.
Yeah, she's going to medal.
And she's such a girl of good grace. She was very handled herself very well, but that swim did sort of knock her out. And
she was very upset.
She made the final this year, and I hope she does very well.
Yeah.
But I think Clodagh and Lily Rose will give her a run for her money.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, Alice and Lily Rose meet in the heat. And Clodagh and Beatrix meet in the heat.
Yes. Yeah.
So that means that long way around for
someone. Yep.
Yeah.
So who's your pick? Alice. All right. Beautiful. And Binky, your number one pick. One pick, Binky.
I haven't seen enough of Clodagh in a single, but I know that she's very, very strong as a sweep rower. And if she's been spending some time in the single, she will fight hard.
Very good.
And I also know that Lily Rose is very experienced and accomplished, and Beatrix also. But I think the top three for me are Alice, Clodagh, and Lily Rose.
Yeah, but Binky, if we're going to take the box trifecta off Alan's table, I've got to take it off your table too.
I'm going for Alice.
Let's hope that she comes.
I'll put Adelaide in the top three. There you are.
It's going to be. We can go. The single skull's getting a bit too challenging, isn't it? There's too many options with this one. I hate to get any of these girls.
As well. God.
Oh, they won't be having much sleep for the next few nights, I reckon. So we've got Alan, you've got Alice, and Binky. Who was your final one decision? Come on.
I'm going to call the sentimental favourite is Alice for me.
There we go. All righty.
And keep an eye on that Anastasia McFarlane from Corora as well.
Oh, he's tested box up,
anyway.
Got to bring in the box trifecta somehow.
All right, we're doing well here.
Yeah, we are. Okay, we're into the Div 1. Doubles. The double
skulls.
Yeah, right.
Okay, double skulls. This is going to be an Albert Park College benefit because all the other good double scullers are either from different schools or whatever. Plus, the double scullers themselves would rank very highly in the state in any case.
Yep.
Payne and Gleeson Payne were third at states in an 8:42, and Kilkoski and Roberts, the other pairing, were fourth at states. Now, when I look down that fleet, you've got the Gippsland Grammar girls coming back, but they haven't raced this year. I'm not sure what's happened there. I should have asked Kylie.
But Ella Duran's in the pod, isn't she? Sorry, the Gippsland Grammar crew doesn't have Ella in it. Is she in the quad?
Yeah, she's in the quad. These are girls that were racing last year and years prior. This is Berhaja and Hohenlein. But I don't think I went back and had a look. They haven't raced since Christmas. They might be here. They might be actually out of the thing, but here for the Morongo. I mean, that happens sometimes.
I think they're both experienced girls. They've both rode it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but I would think Albert Park will win that event, Guy.
Albert Park.
Yep. All right, we're into the home stretch.
Yeah.
So then you got F1, which, Clarendon won. This is Nikki Polinsky's crew. Clarendon won Head of the Lake, and they won at States. Well, they didn't actually win at States. Of the four schools they won, Furbank Split 8 won that event. And that Split 8 is indeed rowing under 19s fours at Nationals, that Furbank crew. But Clarendon only beat Loretto Ballarat by 3 seconds. So Loretto Ballarat won the bronze at States. that event's up in the air. That Caulfield Grammar Crew is their best 4 rowers. So that's why they're not rowing in Div 1 at 8s. They are at the head of the river, though. Those girls are going back at the head of the river into that boat. That's really a 3-way go, but you'd have to say Clarendon would be favourites. So we'll go for Clarendon.
We've just had a comment from Lake Eildon Rowing Club. I reckon that's Mario jumping on there. He's just pointed out that Albert Park has Peter Anthony's daughter in there.
And a fine coach at the helm. So, you know.
Well, there we go.
I think those daughters actually rode for MGGS, but anyway, one of them.
I don't agree with Mario. Mario's been around the block. He knows his stuff.
All right. Well, they used to go to Albert Park.
You clarify this.
Now the quad. We've talked a bit about the quads. Let me just check the draw because I think that's fairly important here. Quads. Here we go.
Hang on. Where did we finish on the 4? Sorry, I got sidetracked.
I'm going to Clarendon.
Clarendon. All right. Yeah. That's 2 Clarendon and the 4s and the seniors.
Quads was where I had 7 boats really in the mix. Then after states, I thinned it back to 3 with 4 on the outer or just behind them.
Yep.
Running out of puff. So we've got from states. We had that situation where Wrighton beat MGC in a classic by 1 second. That was in Q1 in the afternoon. Gippsland Grammar with Miss Tavasci and Miss Durand in it. Did an 8:24 to win under 21s in the morning. Strathcona, one thing you can be certain, if Wrighton's in the same event as Strathcona, Wrighton have got the wood on them this year. Now, they've often had that, but they've beaten them up twice at Ballarat. Corowa had COVID last time, which is probably, I've knocked them back a notch or 2. And the Cardinia girls, I'm hoping, because I actually know all those girls, I'm hoping they pick up and do well. And as I said, they row faster in Cardinia because it's white.
Of course.
So anyway, quickly, I'm getting supercilious now. So Cardinia are in the same heat as MGC, so you'd have to think MGC would be favoured there. Strathcona in the same heat as Coro, a bit more up in the air, but probably Strathy. Wrighton take on Toorak College, well, that's a Wrighton. And Gippsland Grammar take on Ballarat Grammar. That will be closer, but you'd have to think if Gippsland can't win that, they won't win the event. So I'm going to go for, Wrighton's had a huge era. You'd like to see Gippsland or MGC win just for something different, wouldn't you?
I think you've got a bias against.
I can't put my head before my common sense, so I'm going to go for Wrighton.
I was about to say you had a bias against Wrighton this year, haven't you? But now you've come back in there.
I've written more nice things about Wrighton than their marketing department have. I've done more for it.
Okay.
That school doesn't really acknowledge rowing all that often.
No.
Anyway, now
the big one, the final one.
We've talked about this a lot. So if you again look at the state results, let's have a look. MGGS has won it in a 7:31, and Loretto Toorak couldn't get them in a 7:34. Now remember, 5 nights of MLC's crew weren't in that boat. They ran last, so you can ignore that. Okay. St Catherine's looked in the race. They rode a 7:42. I was surprised actually they were so far behind on time. As I was surprised that Furbank in a 7:46 was so close to St Catherine's. When you're looking on and you're looking at the margin, sometimes it doesn't work out the way it actually is.
Yeah.
So what you'd expect there is, if you're looking at it, most commentators I would think it's probably 55% chance MGGS is going to win this thing, probably 35% chance Loretto Toorak and 10% MLC. The other interesting thing is, can St Catherine's break into that top 3? That's probably almost a 50, maybe 30 to 40% chance they could do that. Could anybody break into that top 4? Well, it's only going to be Furbank, maybe Wesley, and the chances there are probably less than 50%. You would have to go for MGGS simply because they've had the wood on them in the last 3 regattas. Now, in under 21s, it was MUBC won, and they did reverse. Loreto Turak did beat MGGS, but that form in those underage events is never as reliable in eights. That first thing in the afternoon, I'm just going historically over many, many years. But Loreto Turak could win it, as could MLC.
All right, you're putting your eggs in all baskets again now. So MGGS is your final call.
So that means that I better take my Loreto Turak umbrella to the event. Remember, they kindly gave me one, but I forgot one. So I've got my Lauriston hat. I haven't got a Furbank hat yet. I've got about 16 Corolla caps. So I better just wear that at Kubra just to be neutral, I'd say.
Well, that does keep it a bit neutral.
I'll tell you what, let's remind all the girls that we've been talking about who's going to win what. They're all winners.
Yeah.
Because they're all there. They've all made it to this point in the season.
That's
and
right.
In my eyes, every one of the girls has worked hard to get here. You all deserve to be winners. And the lessons and everything that you've learned as part of the season, this is just one little part of it. And so I think all the girls ought to be congratulated, and just remember, keep your eyes on the boat.
Absolutely, and you've sort of, what you've said there's spot on. What we've been talking about tonight for nearly 2 hours is a drop in the ocean to the 2,500 seats that are being occupied over on the Barwon over the next few days, and they all absolutely put in all the work. It's worth mentioning that. And the only reason we don't talk about all the others is because we haven't got 8 hours to talk about it, because there is 2,500 competitors.
But every girl there is a winner. And I just think it's a fabulous event, and every girl should feel the excitement and joy of Head of the Schoolgirls.
I don't know if I told you, but in 2016, I wrote a piece on the 4th Division 8, and I had Geelong Grammar just missing out on the final, and they rode brilliantly in the heat, and they made the final. Anyway, this enormous girl from Geelong Grammar came up to say hello. I'd never met her before. She said, "Alan, I'm so-and-so." She said, "At the start, we decided to prove you wrong. We decided to row our best race and make the final," which they did. And so proving me wrong is a great thing to do. Gosh, I don't like getting it right. I've told you before.
Yeah.
I also, looking through some of the results from previous years, some of our greatest rowing women these days, I'm thinking Lucy Stephane, for example, I believe she came second in her crew at Head of the Schoolgirls. There's life after Head of the Schoolgirls, and hopefully a lot of the girls who are competing this weekend will carry on with rowing past school days. I'd really love to see, actually, girls rowing has, from anecdotally, from what I'm witnessing on the riverbank, better retention rate than boys rowing at the moment in terms of first year.
Absolutely, and I'm not at all surprised. I don't need to keep going on about how much I reckon they do it better.
Well, I think it's partially because they end on such a high. The girls have such an amazing experience at Head of the Schoolgirls, and they just want to come back for more. So hopefully we see lots of these Year 12 girls signing up for club rowing, signing up for university rowing, and carrying on throughout the future.
Binky, a lot of the girls that get these US scholarships aren't always the girls you would think from the results should be getting the, It's the same with that. I was looking at the names in that MUBC squad the other day. There's some girls in there that I would have thought, well, they're good rowers, but, often they achieve more after they've finished school, don't they? Well,
Oh, look, and I think there are some amazing opportunities with the scholarships. A lot of the girls are not on, you can have a 5% scholarship. That's
all right.
Yeah.
But the other thing, though, Binky, it is an entry, though, isn't it? Even if it's a 5% scholarships, it's an entry where you won't get one otherwise.
But it's not for everyone. And there are many, many ways to get educationally where you want to go, and also in rowing where you want to go. And, you know, you have to choose the pathway that suits you and what your goals are. And there's, scholarships, and there's also scholarships from Melbourne universities as well. In fact, Zara's in one of those programs. So, you know, lots of opportunities out there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just such an amazing event. It really is. It's the whole thing.
Well, I get there very early. I like the serenity of the river.
Yep.
And one year, that COVID year, I think I was the first person there. I just got there, and there was the security guys there, and I was the first person there. So I'll be there. I want my car spot below that paddock that you were talking about. I want my car spot tomorrow morning.
I'll be in Sydney.
So you'll be heading off as soon as we leave here.
Actually, just on going back to Kate McNeil, she's in the first event in Sydney. So I wonder if she's leaving from Avalon or Tullamarine. I mean, Avalon,
quick flight up.
Yeah, well, my daughter's done that once. Get on Avalon after head of Schoolgirls, and you're in Sydney quickly. But
or on the road, because how are they transporting the boat unless she's got a boat?
I don't know.
Right. So, that's right.
My next question to her.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Well, look, that's been absolutely fantastic. We've had some great guests. We've discussed some great things. Had some great wisdom, Alan. We'll be testing you. I'll be putting you under the pump with all these results. I'm very confident that you're going to get an A+. No doubt about that. Binky, thank you very much for everything. But before we finish up, I just want to get a little bit serious. I know I try to be serious. And just a big shout out to the parents. You know, it's the unappreciated sometimes, and it's the parents that are the building blocks and the glue of this sport that actually makes it happen, because they're the poor buggers that have to get up at 5 a.m. and drag the kids out of bed, take them down to the river, keep encouraging them, putting up with the emotional stresses, the physical fatigue, all the headaches, and, you know, grumpy kids. We all know what they're like, and they've got to put up with all of that. And then they've got to try and put a positive spin on it and say, hey, let's go back and do it again tomorrow because you enjoyed it so much yesterday. But, you know,
so many of the parents are ex-rowers, and I think there's something to be said that their parents did it for them, their kids will do it for their kids. You know, we'll say
absolutely right, Binky, but they're not the ones I'm yelling out to right now, because we know what we get out of it. What I'm talking to now is the newbie parents, for lack of a better words. The ones that are at the point, especially at the juniors inters level, where they're thinking, is this going to be good for my kid going into VCE? Do I really want the distraction of rowing, etc., etc.? Well, to those parents, it's really, really simple. We know absolutely categorically that rowing gives so much more than education. It gives the ability to be resilient. It gives leadership. It gives management. It gives a lot of resilience. I just mentioned that, didn't I? Responsibility, dealing with all of those aspects, which you don't get out of other sports or activities. And it's imperative that, you know, you embrace this as much as they already have if they're going through the journey, because, you know, if the kids want to do it, why on earth would wouldn't you be encouraging it? Because they do get more organised. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
Well, it's very fair to say. I was chatting with a mother the other day who had been at this regatta, that regatta, boys, girls, here and there. And she said, yeah, but all their mates are up at night in the park vaping.
Oh, God.
Quite happy to get up in the morning. And these are good kids from good schools.
Yeah.
You know, the rowers have not got time to muck around with that sort of silly stuff. And anecdotally also, I've had a school principal tell me that rowers are academically stronger.
Yeah.
Because they've had that.
They've got to be organised.
That would have been a question for Rob Manning, because when he was running Lauriston as head of rowing, he used to tell me how well the girls were doing with their 8-hour scores.
Yeah.
And leadership positions and all of the rest. So, you know, if anyone needs convincing about rowing, they only need to go to one of the principals of the schools that really have big rowing programs and ask for the stats.
Yep, absolutely. And final shout out, if there's any of the girls listening in, or if they listen to any of this at any point in time, if you're nervous, if you're anxious, good. You should be. That's part of the process. It's part of the excitement at the end, because when you go through this anxiety and this nervousness, you've put in months and months and months and sometimes years of hard work, and it all comes down to a couple of days. And this is those couple of days. So embrace those negative emotions, if you want to call it that, and turn them into positives and build energy out of it, because that's where you'll get the best from yourselves. And the greatest satisfaction when you've overcome the fears and the hurdles.
It's all about language. Instead of saying I'm nervous or I'm scared, just say I'm excited. Your brain,
absolutely,
will change the message.
It's a similar feeling.
If you tell your brain you're excited, your brain will believe it.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Lake Gildan have just said, love this. Thank you, guys. Brilliant. And that coming from Mario.
Well, you also should tell the girls guy that when they bring a boy home to meet mum and dad, make sure he's got a tux on. That'd be a big positive.
Well, I'm a bit disappointed you guys missed
not one of these old Gazman shirts. You just want a tux.
I did get a bit of criticism as I was putting on the attire, but like true television media people, you haven't seen the bottom half, so.
You could be in The Godfather.
We don't want you, guys. That's fine.
No, I won't be doing that. This is a kid's show, and we've got to get past 9 p.m. before you can go to the non-PG.
Rowers need to go to bed.
They do. The rowers should be in bed. They should have had. They should be getting as much rest as they can. And don't worry, guys, you will not sleep well. So don't wake up in the morning stressed about that, because everyone's the same. You're not going to sleep well. You'll be fine though, because you're fit, you're resilient, and you're tough.
Well, can I just do a bit of housekeeping?
You may.
So if you want to join my rowing group, don't send me a friend request. A few people have done. You join the group, and it's called Rowing Regatta Form Guides and Chat. Okay, because I just don't. It's a different entity. I'm pretty boring on Facebook normally, and you don't really need to be friends with me.
No, you're quite right. And if you search that on Facebook, you'll find it, and then you can apply in there.
Right.
It is. Am I right in saying this, Alan? You do vet who comes in. It's not a.
I'm pretty. If anybody sort of puts up advertising, except for you, of course. If there's a scammy thing there, or if somebody uses inappropriate language, they get taken off straight away. It doesn't happen much.
No.
And if somebody tries to get in at 4 o'clock in the morning from an overseas country that obviously has no interest in what we do, they don't get accepted. I can't. You can't do it perfectly, but that's why it's a group, and that's why it's not a blog or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, good on you, Alan, because the amount of work. I don't know if people really appreciate how much you put into this. I know it's a hobby. I know it's your interest and passion, but the amount of work you put into it, you can see that the level of detail is exceptional. We will find out in only hours' time now how these numbers are going to come into play with your number one selections. But
Mate, I think getting over the Westgate Bridge will be hard enough for me.
No, that's the bigger challenge. That's the bigger challenge. But we will obviously be having a catch up on Monday, doing our normal podcast of the review of the weekend's activities. Yeah, Binky
I might be otherwise occupied on Monday, but I will be watching over the weekend.
Yes.
And cheering all the girls on.
Well, good luck to Zara. We haven't actually said Zara's in the Victorian team. And is that right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. The squads are out. Yep.
Yeah, and one of my eldest daughter's a coach in the Victorian team.
Yes, I believe she is. And they got their presentation of their uniforms and whatnot last night. It was a great honour, and just if I can once again plug the girls who are sculling rather than sweep.
Yep.
There's, you can do both.
Absolutely. Well, look at that, spot on 9 p.m. I think
Well
we've
done,
absolutely
guy.
nailed the brief. It was all my meticulous structure that I had for tonight that it just fell into place perfectly.
You might get a job on 60 Minutes with that tux.
Oh, God, Jesus, no, I don't think I want to be
Does
upset.
Jackie know you've got that?
Job on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, Jackie's in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, dear. Well, anyway, look, it's been fantastic. Everyone have a good weekend. I'll be looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds. To the parents, enjoy yourselves. Maybe not too much. It can go pear-shaped, especially if you get a bit carried away on day one. You know, I'm not speaking from experience at all. But enjoy yourselves. But thank you, Binky. Thank you, Alan. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to a chat on Monday, and I look forward to doing something like this again next time. Actually, I am going to be doing a live show again in a few weeks' time. Here's a little bit of a preview. It's going to be a preview of the boat race. The boat race between Oxford and Cambridge.
Oh,
Hey, how exciting is that going to be? No, well, it's going to be a great preview because my level of knowledge over those two crews is exceptional. I don't know anything. So it'll be great to see how that unfolds. I am bringing in a male rowing tragic who is about to do some research. And John Perry, if you're listening to this, I know you will be. You'd better start doing some research, mate, because you're going to be under the pump because I know nothing.
I'm going to bid you good night.
yes. Right.
Hey, Binky.
I've got to get my beauty sleep before...
Me too.
okay.
Me too.
I don't think so.
Thanks,
I don't know. None of us need our beauty sleep. Anyway, thanks all, and we will see you soon. Thank you for joining us. See you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye.